So now we are going to talk about chaîné turns. So chaîné is spelled C-H-A-I-N-E-S. So it looks like chains with a weird E in there, but that's your chaîné turn. Alright, so this is another basic fundamental ballet move, but when it comes to color guard, we actually do these a little bit differently, which is kind of interesting. But if you're from kind of this classical ballet training, you're gonna think, wait a minute, that's not how I was told how to do chaîné turns. But when it comes to color guard, and what I've heard from years and years of experience from many judges' feedback, is that when it comes to your chaîné turns, you want to think about a really nice tight close with your feet, and that you're not going to have your feet spread apart. So if you know what I'm talking about, maybe this makes sense. If not, don't worry about it. I'll show you what I'm talking about when I get to that section. But first, I'm going to talk about how we're going to get into that chaîné turn. So we're going to just start with the first position here with our feet. And we're going to bring our arms up to a nice first position as well. And there's a lot of different places that you could start your chaîné turn from, but this is where we're just going to start today. So with this, you're going to step your right foot out, and then your right arm is also going to follow. So I'm just stepping to the side. I am putting a little bit of weight on my toes here, because I'm about to send all of my weight over to those toes in a second. So I'm just opening this arm up, and both of my arms are actually going to open up at the same time. So with my arms, I have this nice soft bend in my elbow here. You want to make sure that you're not hyperextending your elbows. So make sure that it has that nice soft bend, and also that you're not tensing up your shoulders here. So as you go to open, keep that lowered level with your shoulders, and think about having breath within your chest and your shoulders here as well. Okay, so you're going to do both of those things at the same time, where you're opening. And then what you're going to do is you're going to find a spot on the wall. It's going to be a little bit above parallel here, and you're going to lock into that position. So this is going to be called spotting. And we'll talk a little bit more about spotting in a second, but for now, just go ahead and find that position on the wall, and you want to make sure that you really can find that spot every time that you move within this whole movement. So open up, found that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to close. So to close my turn, I'm going to start by bringing my arms together. So this is something that's really important. You don't want your arms to collapse. This is a very common mistake that a lot of people make when they go to close their turns. So you don't want this. I'm looking from the side and the front. I still want this nice rounding here in my arms. So I've got just that nice soft bend in my elbows, just like so. And you can think about there being like this beach ball that you're holding on to, if that helps you. You don't want to squish your beach ball or pop your beach ball. So you got that in between you there. And then with my feet at the same time, I'm going to close my feet. So I'm going to swing that left foot around, and I'm going to bring my heels together as much as possible. And I'm going to be doing that in releve. So I'm going to be lifted there. So this is the section where this differs from what you might have been taught in any classical ballet classes you might have been a part of. So classical ballet, you're going to think about keeping those feet a little bit more separated, so you have some nice space in between your feet and your heels there. When it comes to color guard though, we actually want to close that as much as possible. So with this, I'm going to think about really locking those heels together as much as possible as I lock into that releve position. So I just came from there, and I close my arms into this. And also as I do this, I'm going to think about my head still locking into that spotting position that we found on the wall previously. So I'm not going to look away from that at all as I move between those two positions. I'm going to think about just rotating from the neck down. Here we go. And I can stay locked in with that spot on the wall that I found to spot. Okay, so those are your first two movements. We're out and we're closing. And then as you come into this last position here, you're going to think about swinging over your right shoulder. So I'm going to bring my right hand and my leg out. And I'm going to be in a nice wide second position here. And once again, I'm bringing my arms out They're relaxed in the elbows. I'm not tensing. I'm just relaxed in my shoulders. And then you're basically ending the same way that you started to initiate that movement, with at least your feet and with your arms here. Something that's going to be different though is what you're doing with your head. So I was staying locked in with that position that I was spotting, but now what I want to do is I want to whip my head around as fast as I can to find that position on the wall again. So I can't stay locked in the whole time, but you want to try to do as much of that as you can. So I'm going to turn quickly with just my head here, and then finding that spot on the wall once again. And that is going to be a full spotting of your turn. So here's why spotting is so important. When it comes to spotting, if you're doing multiple of these in a row, spotting your turn is going to allow you to stay on a straight path the whole time. So you're not, dancing into people here or over here. You're maintaining a nice strong form, and you're not wobbling one way or the other. But another really key point to spotting is that this is the thing that will help keep you from getting dizzy. So if you're spotting your turns and always finding that marker on the wall that you're always trying to spot in at, then you're going to be able to continue to do these without getting dizzy. You're going to be able to do so many more. So really work on spotting those turns and staying locked in with that spot as long as you can, whipping your head around quickly to reconnect with it when you have to break that eye contact for a second. So let's just do one of those. So we're opening, I'm finding my spot on the wall, closing, still staying connected, and then I'm going to find it again as I open up. And that's your chaîné turn. If you wanted to, you could also do these back to back. So as I mentioned, you basically end and start in the same place. So once you go into that ending, you'll just go into another close to go back to back with your chaîné turn. So I'm going to try to do 2 back to back here. I might go out of frame, but we'll try it out. And those are your chaîné turns.